Envision 2030 to 17 goals to transform the world for persons with disabilities. By 2030, eradicate extreme poverty for all people everywhere, currently measured as people living on less than $1.25 a day in. Reduce at least by half the proportion of men, women and children of all ages living in poverty in all its dimensions according to national definitions. End hunger, achieve food security and improved nutrition and promote sustainable agriculture. To end all forms of malnutrition, including achieving, by 2025, the internationally agreed targets on stunting and wasting in children under 5 years of age, and address the nutritional needs of adults. Ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all at all ages. To reduce the global maternal mortality ratio to less than 70 per 100,000 live births. To end preventable deaths of newborns and children under 5 years of age, with all countries aiming to reduce neonatal mortality to at least as low as 12 per 1,000 live births and under 5 mortality. Ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. And ensure that all girls and boys complete free, equitable and quality primary and secondary education leading to relevant and goal for effective learning outcomes. End all forms of discrimination against all women and girls everywhere and eliminate all forms of violence against all women and girls in the public and private spheres. Ensure women's full and effective participation and equal opportunities for leadership at all levels of decision-making in political, economic and public life. To achieve universal and equitable access to safe and affordable drinking water. To ensure universal access to affordable, reliable and modern energy services and increase substantially the share of renewable energy in the global energy mix. By 2030, double the global rate of improvement in energy efficiency. Promote sustained, inclusive and sustainable economic growth, full and productive employment and decent work for all. Sustain per capita economic growth in accordance with national circumstances and, in particular, at least 7% gross domestic product growth per annum in the least developed countries. Build resilient infrastructure, promote inclusive and sustainable industrialization and foster innovation. Develop quality, reliable, sustainable and resilient infrastructure, including regional and transborder infrastructure, to support economic development and human well-being, with a focus on affordable. By 2030, progressively achieve and sustain income growth of the bottom 40% of the population at a rate higher than the national average. To empower and promote the social, economic and political inclusion of all, irrespective of age, sex, disability, race, ethnicity, origin, religion or economic or other status. By 2030, progressively achieve and sustain income growth of the bottom 40% of the population at a rate higher than the national average. To empower and promote the social, economic and political inclusion of all, irrespective of age, sex, disability, race, ethnicity, origin, religion or economic or other status. Make cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient and sustainable. To ensure access for all to adequate, safe and affordable housing and basic services and upgrade slums. Strengthen efforts to protect and safeguard the world's cultural and natural heritage and reduce the adverse per capita environmental impact of cities. To ensure sustainable consumption and production patterns and have per capita global food waste at the retail and consumer levels and reduce food losses along production and supply chains. Achieve the sustainable management and efficient use of natural resources and reduce waste generation through prevention, reduction, recycling and reuse. Take urgent action to combat climate change and its impacts and strengthen resilience and adaptive capacity to climate-related hazards and natural disasters in all countries. Integrate climate change measures into national policies, strategies and planning and improve education, awareness raising and human and institutional capacity on climate change. Conserve and sustainably use the oceans, seas and marine resources for sustainable development. By 2025, prevent and significantly reduce marine pollution of all kinds, in particular from land-based activities, including marine debris and nutrient pollution. Protect, restore and promote sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystems, sustainably manage forests, combat desertification, and halt and reverse land degradation and halt biodiversity loss. By 2020, ensure the conservation, restoration and sustainable use of terrestrial and inland freshwater ecosystems and their services, in particular forests, wetlands, mountains and drylands. Promote peaceful and inclusive societies for sustainable development, provide access to justice for all and build effective, accountable and inclusive institutions at all levels. Reduce all forms of violence and related death rates everywhere and end abuse, exploitation, trafficking and all forms of violence against and torture of children. Strengthen the means of implementation and revitalize the Global Partnership for Sustainable Development. Finance and trade to strengthen domestic resource mobilization, including through international support to developing countries, to improve domestic capacity for tax and other revenue collection. Technology promote the development, transfer, dissemination and diffusion of environmentally sound technologies to developing countries on favorable terms, including on concessional and preferential. Capacity building to enhance international support for implementing effective and targeted capacity building in developing countries to support national plans.